All right. Looks like we're live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm going to just chit chat a little bit here until everyone decides to join in. No, there's a problem with my screen. Oh, I better mute this. Oh, it's because I don't have headphones in. Holy crap. Well, no one's going to see this part anyway. So, hey, how you doing there? Good morning, Max Del Rio. How you doing? You are first. I have to do this a little bit differently now that I don't have an intro and I don't have a standby using Google Hangouts, as you know, due to the fact that I no longer have my good computer. But hey, this is going to work for now, and that's just how it's going to be. So, while we're waiting for people to come in, I had some thoughts. um, I was seriously considering talking about the Democratic debate last night. It was half the Democrats got on stage last night and did their thing. Hello there, C. Thomas. Good morning. And God, I couldn't get through it. It was so damn dull. I was hoping to see something new. I think my biggest takeaway is wait, two watching. Am I one of those two? I don't even know. It's always weird when I see how many people on here. I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm gonna hold on. Let's do this while I got this on here. I'm gonna do my little my Twitter announcement real quick because I haven't done that yet. It's tough because I usually do this whenever I do my intro on the Streamlabs OBS when I'm using OBS. It's a lot easier because I don't have to. I'm gonna change my fusion here. Because I have time to do the Twitter stuff and I can do everything, and I just can't do that anymore. It kind of bums me out. But I also figured out yesterday, after I got off the show and my Twitter was rearranged all over the place. I was like, "What is wrong with this?" Figured out that on my old laptop I had an old version of Twitter, and so I updated it, and so now I can see the Twitter trends. Yes, you just forget how some things work when they are on an old computer. They are just antiquated, but you know what? It is what it is. So, hey, good morning, Richo. The holiday was fantastic. I'll mention a little bit about that today, but I talked about that a lot yesterday, so won't spend a whole lot of time. Thursday. Oh yeah, Thursday thoughts. We'll have some Thursday thoughts today. I don't know the thoughts, but we'll definitely have some Thursday thoughts. But let's do this. I gotta pop this into the old Twitters here, just for those people who get notification of that. Let's see here. Debate me, bro. You get a little insight as to what I do when you're on that standby for 10 to 15 minutes sometimes. All right, there's that. I don't have other thing is I don't have a thumbnail for this because well, I'll probably change the thumbnail later. But let's see. Um Anyway, Richard, yes, the holiday was good. It was a great 2 weeks, other than my little mishap in San Francisco. As I said yesterday, people who, want to travel. Well, I didn't say that. I alluded to this yesterday. People who want to travel in the United States or travel, period, and say, oh, I want to go to Mexico because it's so beautiful, or I want to go to Europe and I want to go see this and I want to go see that. If you haven't explored the United States, there's amazing beauty in this country. And there's just about anything that you'd want to see. You can see if you really want to now. So, like I said, when we were in Oregon, we went and toured waterfalls, and then as we're driving from Oregon, then we went down the Oregon coast, and so some beautiful beaches and some fishing villages and cool stuff there, and then we drove back from the coast over to Eugene and toured the University of Oregon, and then went down and then as you're driving from there to Eugene to Redding, California, the scenery changes, the type of mountains, the type of type of climate. You can see it change just the way the scenery changes and different kinds of flowers and things. And then you get to and then you go from there down to San Francisco, and a completely different style of living there versus some of the towns we went through. And then you drive down the Pacific Coast Highway from San Francisco to Los Angeles, and you see this amazing, cliffs and scenery and everything. And it's just amazing, the beauty in this country. And I've also done that. I've gone across states on a bicycle, for example. You would think that the most boring place to drive or be it would be, Iowa. Iowa, just rolling hills and cornfields. And yet, if you go, there's a bicycle tour called RAGBRAI, and that tour goes from the Missouri River to the Mississippi every year. It has a different route every year. And I rode that 5 times or 4 different times. I rode in RAGBRAI 4 times. It's a bicycle ride across Iowa. There's about 10,000 people that do it at the same time. And you'd even be amazed at what's cool in little towns. As you're riding a bicycle, for 7 days across Iowa, just the different things you see that are cool. And it's not just cornfields. There's beautiful hills and valleys and rivers and different things, and a lot of little quaint little small towns you go through. To be honest, anywhere you go in this country, like I said, I've been to now I've been to all but 6 states. I've never been to Alaska, Hawaii. I've never been to Florida. That's weird. Everyone's been to Florida. I've never been to Florida. Oh wait, 7. Washington. I've never been to Washington either. And then Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, that corner. So we're gonna hit those corners next year when we have a family reunion in New York, and my wife and I are gonna drive up into New Hampshire and Vermont and Maine. We have a friend who lives in Maine, so we're gonna go there. But even as I drive around Minnesota, I've lived here 30 years. And just in the last few years, we've driven to different places in Minnesota. We've gone to some state parks, or there's the North Shore of Lake Superior, or there's beautiful waterfalls and things there, and scenery. Or the city of Duluth is just a cool town with, built on these hills and cliffs. You can see so much just traveling in this country. And so it can be a really, really beautiful thing. So you don't have, in fact, it's amazing. You can take a trip pretty much anywhere in this country. You can go drive a half hour and see something cool. And you just got to be willing to see it or be really willing to realize this. Some of the greatest trips my wife and I take have been just driving a couple hours outside of the Twin Cities, going to a small town that's on a lake or something like that, checking out the local diner, having some lunch there, and just seeing what's in the town. What's this town about? And you see some of the old, like some of the towns that have little old downtown or things like that. It's just really cool to do it. And I unfortunately, most of my video for that is on that computer, but I think I have it backed up of some of the trips that we've taken. And those are actually going to go on my other channel. But now that I've had this little experience losing my computer, I think I'm going to be a little more proactive about making the videos that I take video for. So for example, this trip I just took, even though I lost a couple of days in Portland, I took a lot of footage using my phone, and I think I'm going to make sure that I get that put together and show you some of the really, really cool things that we've seen. So let's say hi to everybody, because now people are rolling in, so that's a good thing. Here we go, and I'm gonna let me move the chat over so I can make sure that I can. I'm gonna pop it out over here and move it to the other side, so it's easier for me to manage as I'm reading some of the new stuff that I got today. I do have. Hey, you know what, guys? Today I've got some news ready, or at least I have some news that I have planned to talk about. And like I said, my Twitter trends thing's working again, because I realized I had for those who are just getting here, old laptop, old version of Twitter on this laptop. Now I figured out that I need to upgrade on this particular browser. I didn't really even realize that I thought when you, especially in Chrome, I thought when you updated things or looked at new versions of things that already worked on all your Chrome, because it's the same. I use Chrome when I'm doing YouTube stuff because it works better on Chrome. But for some reason, you had to update Twitter on Chrome when you use it. So anyway, let's say good morning again. Mac Del Rio was here first. He gets the bell. And C. Thomas, I didn't give you the bell yesterday, so you're getting a bell today too, because we're here first yesterday. Good morning, Chadwick Dupree. Good morning, Richo. I already Functional, Diesel Dave. So who else did I see? Pincalo, you're here. Good morning. And hello, Necrosol Collins. And there's a bunch of people coming in. Cynical Lindsay, how you doing? I think I hit everybody. Did I miss anybody? There's some people lurking too, but that's okay. Lurk away. Lurk away. Now, before we get started, got to remind you that the Morning Night Live is brought to you by you, the viewers of the Morning Night Live. If you could do me a favor, right down here, there's a share button. Hit that share. It's right, that little arrow. It's a little curvy arrow thing. Hit the share button. Put it out on your favorite social media, Facebook, Twitter, whatever you guys use. I think there's even there's a link for LinkedIn. Who shares videos on LinkedIn? I don't know. But hey, if you use LinkedIn, share it on LinkedIn. Also, make sure if you haven't done so already, hit the like button. If you like what I do, but most of you like what I do because you come here and listen to my spiel every day. And if you'd like to do super chats, we do those through Streamlabs OBS. Now, obviously I'm not on Streamlabs right now, but you can still do donations and super chats through Streamlabs. I have a little window open here in case anyone does any donations or Streamlabs super chats. I use that for super chats and for donations. So I appreciate that, especially that I'm trying to replace a bunch of equipment. So if you feel like helping me out, I really appreciate that. That's great incentive to do what I do, even though I really love what I do here. And hopefully someday we'll replace that computer and I'll be able to do a little more production value stuff. But hey, just how it's going to be today. So let's get into it. Let's get into it because last night, if you didn't already know, I'm pretty sure everyone knows, there was a debate on TV from the Democratic Party. Half the Democrats decided to have a debate last night. It was on NBC. And here was the interesting thing. Now, I didn't watch a whole lot of the debate. I'm more reacting to some of the reactions that I reacted. I'm reacting to some of the reactions, and actually, there's a couple articles here we'll go through. The one thing that really just right off the spot annoyed the hell out of me. And it's not unusual for debates. I don't care if it's a Democratic debate. I don't care if it's a Republican debate. It happens at all of these political dog and pony shows they put together, because it's just a dog and pony show. They just want to be able to try to say what they want to say. And the thing that all of them drove me crazy with as I began watching it and stopped is they don't answer questions. It's so annoying. Oh my gosh. Wait, what happened here? Okay, there we go. They don't answer questions. And even the ones I can tolerate, like Tulsi Gabbard, the first question she got, I don't think she said anything about the question. Now, I like what she said. She's talking about being anti-war and whatever. And I'm kind of that right-wing anti-war person. I'm like, can we just stay out of other people's shit and worry about our own, unless it's a danger to us? Now, sometimes we try to make everything a danger to us. But okay. Yeah, just the first question, but it was functional. It was the first question she didn't answer. Then I think she answered everything else after that. But I stopped watching again. I just couldn't take it. Anyway, but man, they ask you a very specific question, and you're so thinking about what you wrote your speech about. You wrote your canned answer for this question, and you wanted to make sure you got your big one-liner out there, that you didn't do this. And the one, the one person that everyone reacted the same to, it was kind of like, what's this guy doing? Was Beto O'Rourke. Yes, Beto was hilarious. When Beto started answering a question in Spanish, and everyone was talking about there's the great picture of Cory Booker giving this look. But he wasn't the only one, because if you were watching, as soon as he started speaking in Spanish, the camera the first person you could see on the camera was Elizabeth Warren. And Elizabeth Warren had that exact same look. It was just like, now, well, it wasn't the exact same look. Elizabeth Warren was like, first, I think, here's what I think Elizabeth Warren was thinking. Elizabeth Warren was thinking, I wonder if I should try and speak Cherokee. Okay, that's not really what she was thinking, but she had that look like, what are you doing, you jackass? And then Cory Booker's look was like, oh, damn, you stole my idea. You beat me to my idea. And you know what? The question he was asked was whether or not you want us, what was the highest tax rate you want? You know, some of the people were proposing a 70% top tax rate, in the progressive tax rates. And no one even knows if he answered the question, because you know what? Well, first of all, I know he wasn't talking about tax rates when he was speaking in Spanish. But yeah, he just started. And first of all, his Spanish is so rudimentary. Even though I don't speak Spanish well, or even that much at all, I know enough to find a bathroom in Guadalajara, not Guadalajara, Mazatlan. That's where I was the last time I was in Mexico. I know how to find the bathroom in Mazatlan, but that's about it. But he sounded like a 7th grader who went through, for his first Spanish class, and at the end of the year he had to, do a speech in Spanish. And I don't know. It was just weird. And then, so everyone else, the other two, Cory Booker had to throw some Spanish in there, and what's his face, Castro had to throw some Spanish in there, and I don't know. Beto was like, New York barbecue, all hype and no substance, and not good enough for Texas. Yeah, he's just I don't even know why he's running for president. How do you lose the first big pseudo national race by running for the Texas Senate, and you lose, and all of a sudden you think you should be running for president? I don't know. Hello, Cynical Lindsay. Hi, Tim Higgins. I see you guys popped in. I just wanted to make sure I said hello. Yeah, sending smoke signals indoors is illegal. Yeah, I don't think I didn't watch the whole thing, but did anyone ever ask Elizabeth Warren about the I wouldn't say the elephant. Did anyone ask Senator Warren about the buffalo in the teepee? Did anyone? I maybe y'all watched the whole thing. I don't know. So let's see. Here's what I would do. I'm gonna pull up an article about the debate real quick, and we're gonna go through that a little bit. And this is was it Jeff Greenfield? Daniel Greenfield. 9 radicals with no shot at being elected to anything redistribute each other's time. And this is from Front Page Magazine. We'll share this on the screen here. All right. Daniel Greenfield, a Shillman journalist available at the Freedom Center, is an investigative journalist and writer focusing on radical left and Islamic terrorism. All right. On a sweltering night in Miami's Arts Center for the Performing Arts, a 90-year-old building slightly older than Joe Biden, 9 candidates with no shot at anything, and the 10th, the first fake Native American candidate, gathered to humiliate and be humiliated on national television. Oh, the other thing I noticed, and everyone was talking about this, before I go on farther in this article, everyone was talking about the fact that Elizabeth Warren like seemed to just dominate as far as getting questions and talking. Her time was like double and triple of everyone else's. And in particular, I was watching um, Tulsi Gabbard. I was watching Twitter, and Tulsi Gabbard, just her name popped up on Twitter. Someone was managing her account while she was at the debate, kind of complaining that Elizabeth Warren got 3 times the amount of talk time than anyone else, and they barely even acknowledged Tulsi Gabbard. But I think Tulsi Gabbard actually made a name for herself. If anyone's watching the debates to figure out who's who and who's what, um, I think I think she did pretty good. At least finally getting some time in front of faces with other people that were other people who could have watched and seen her, because I don't think she's been getting um near. Well, there's the other 2 dudes, I still don't even know their names, um that were on the stage. Who's the dude for he's a governor, see, the Indiana governor, Ipsis or whatever her name is, I don't know. And then Tyler, I'll have to read this article. They might mention the names. I don't remember all their names. I know the one. Oh, you know who else made an ass of himself? Hey, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. I'm gonna say this to you. You know who else made a complete ass of himself? No, not Hickenlooper. Who's the dude? There. Who was who was the governor that was on the stage? He kept mentioning that he was a governor. The hell's his name? Yeah, well, there was the bald guy. See, this is sad. There's 25 Democratic candidates. I can't even name 2 that made the debate stage. And then one was Tyler. I don't know. Anyway, but you know who really made an ass of himself, in my opinion? Bill de Blasio. Why are you running for president, Bill de Blasio? Why are you running for president? He was trying so hard to get his, no, Klobuchar's, that's not Buddy Gig. Buddy Gig wasn't there. Buddy Gig's there tonight, is going to be in the debate tonight. Klobuchar is she's a senator from my state, so I already knew who she was. Actually, the bald guy, there was a funny meme on Twitter that the bald guy, he kind of looks like the dude from Airplane that was always panicking. He looks like the same actor. No, anyway, let's talk about Bill de Blasio, though, just real quick. Just the one thing. First of all, he had the nerve to try and call out Buttigieg on apparently some a black man was shot in Buttigieg City, which by the police. Which, you know what, this Tim Ryan, thank you. That's the one I couldn't think of. He's one of them, and then the bald guy. I don't know the other guy. Anyway, de Blasio had the nerve to try to call out Buttigieg for an officer killing somebody. Now, the situation in South Bend, I don't know the situation, and it very well could have been a justified shooting. I don't know enough about it. But Bill de Blasio, of all people, Jay Inslee, thank you. Bill de Blasio, of all people, talking about people being killed by police officers. Do you remember the dude who was selling Lucy's? You know what Lucy's are? They, like, someone buys illegal cigarettes and they sell single cigarettes. The big 400-pound dude. What was that dude's name? And he was killed. Well, people like to say he was choked to death, although he wasn't choked to death. That's a whole nother story. He clearly was not. He didn't die from a chokehold. He died from a cardiac arrest. Eric Garner, thank you. Do you know why Eric Garner? And I'm not blaming the police. I mean, the guy died because he was a 400-pound man who had a heart attack under stress. He was not choked to death, and I can prove that just by you can see in the video that he was not choked to death. And in fact, he was talking. The fact that he was saying "I can't breathe" means he wasn't being choked. You can't talk if you're being choked so much that you can't breathe. And after the very first time he The very first time he said, "I couldn't breathe," the officer removed his arm from around his neck, and they just held him down. And he was alive and talking in the ambulance, and he ended up dying in the ambulance. So he wasn't choked to death. If you're choked to death, you die at the spot where you're being choked. It was a disproportionate amount of force for the crime. But you know why? Now, here, let me talk about de Blasio now. Good point, functional. It was disproportionate amount of force for the crime. It absolutely was. Um, well, except for the fact that he was resisting arrest. But even then, here's the problem. Do you know why the police were decided to arrest him for selling Lucy's? Because Bill de Blasio, who was the mayor of New York City then and now, Bill de Blasio decided he wanted to crack down on illegally untaxed cigarettes because they were losing tax revenue to people selling Lucy's on the street. And so Eric Garner, who was selling Lucy's on the street I had Virginia stamps on them. So this was Bill de Blasio's big thing at the time. He wanted to crack down on illegal cigarettes. The illegal cigarettes were hurting children. And so they had this big round of people. So they get this call of this Eric Garner fellow who had been caught for selling Lucy's before on the streets. And so they brought in police to take out the person selling Lucy's. The police were doing the bidding of who? Bill de Blasio. And so if you want to talk to and now here's the other part where Bill de Blasio made an ass of himself. They didn't gang beat him. Okay, hold on now. They didn't gang beat him. You're thinking about something else. Okay, here's what happened. Eric Garner, they said they need to stop selling Lucy's. He's a 6'5", 400-pound man. He's huge, a gigantic man. The police said, you know what, we need to arrest you. And he started swatting their hands away. So they subdued him. Now, originally, the one guy looked like he was trying to jump on Andre the Giant in a wrestling match, did have his arm around Garner's neck at first. And when the other officer, they were taking him to the ground, the first time he says, "I can't breathe," the officer removed his arm from his neck and held him down, 2 hands on his back. It's very clear from the video. They didn't beat him. They were just subduing him to arrest him. But he started. Now, when he's saying, "I can't breathe," if you've ever met anyone who's had a heart attack, the first thing they're going to tell you is they are going to say, you get pain and you feel like you can't breathe. And so he was saying it over and over. "I can't breathe. I can't breathe. I can't breathe." If you're being in a chokehold, you will not be able to say that. Okay. But again, regardless of if he is resisting arrest, they could have just told him, "Stop selling these, be on your way." Okay. But de Blasio was cracking down on people selling Lucy's. Now, the other part where he started talking about de Blasio mentioned the fact he has an adopted black son, or is his wife black? I don't know. His children are black. Let's put it that way. And he said something about, he was talking about two, he talked out of both sides of his mouth. One, that he runs the biggest police force in the United States. And something about he raised a black son in the era of police brutality, talking out of 2 sides of his mouth. And the fact that the police union in New York cannot stand Bill de Blasio. They hate him. Mrs. de Blasio's back. That's right. So anyway, and they hate him because he's made very public statements saying that his son is, in danger. He had to, of being harassed by the police. So Anyway, oh my God, Tim, that's terrible. That fall under smoking kills. Anyway, back to this. Okay, let's get back to the article that I started on. Bill de Blasio is just an ass. They might even. I haven't even read this article. They might mention this, but I haven't done so. Let's get back into what the hair. Come on. There you go. Here we go, and back to this. All right. Back to the article. Okay, on the set, designed like a cardboard cutout White House, 10 cardboard cutouts of candidates hoping to sit in the real White House frantically search for their 15 seconds of fame while ignoring moderator questions and going over time. All the millionaire candidates agreed that the economy wasn't working for ordinary Americans like the ones they see on TV. You all. Hello, Ginger Snap. That was the other thing that drove me crazy. All of them talking about complaining, oh, we have this great economy, but it's not working for normal, low, for a better, I'm going to paraphrase here, for all the low-life Americans. Oh my God, it was driving me crazy. Wait a minute. How is the economy not working for all these people who are working now? A lot of those people were not working before. They are working now. How is the economy not working for them? How? Anyway, the speeches about the misery suffered by ordinary Americans in a booming economy at the hands of a giant evil corporations fell flat to a base, which a third of Democratic primary voters earn over $100,000. Who is this economy working for? Elizabeth Warren asked, doing a hand hatchet chop in a tribute to her imaginary Native American heritage, while claiming that it was just working for those at the top, like her. Not only was Warren wealthier than most of the other candidates on stage, but she was called on 3 times as often. As a part of their commitment to redistribution, the socialist candidates redistributed each other's time. But despite their supposed commitment to redistribution, they resisted speaking time socialism. This was supposed to be a debate, and the moderators did try to ask occasionally challenging questions, while the candidates courageously evaded and avoided them, and instead delivered prepared speeches attacking Trump and insisting that the economy wasn't working for most people who weren't as rich as them. Baloney. It's just, I think it's funny too, because I mean, if you actually watch, not only unemployment is way down, the actual the participation rate, the what do we call it, working employment participation rate, there's a word for it, the participation rate's up, and for the first time in a long time, wages are up. Oh, hey, here's the other thing I forgot to talk about yesterday, and this is related to the economy. So you keep hearing this, push for fight for 15 nonsense all over the place. And I thought it was, I always kind of notice how much things cost and whatnot when I'm traveling around the country. For example, Oregon gas prices, for example, are about 30, 40 cents higher than they are here in Minnesota, up in the high twos. Down in like the San Francisco area, it was in the high threes. So they're more than $1 a gallon. Gas was at about $1 more a gallon there than it was here where I live. And I just found that interesting. I mean, gas prices in California pretty much consistently were in the high threes right now. Pretty much from the time we got into in Redding, there's like 340 a gallon. In San Francisco, it was like 380 a gallon. So there's some places where it was 405. Los Angeles, it was in the it was weird. There was one corner. We were at this, there was 4 gas stations on a corner. We were kind of laughing at this. On one corner, it was 355 a gallon. On one corner, it was 385 a gallon. And then the other one was like 389 a gallon. And the other corner was 415 a gallon for regular unleaded gas. And we were trying to figure that out. And I was like, okay, some of these are cash price or something, or is there something that made them that different? But I'd never seen anything like that before. But the other thing I noticed too, so there's, this, you hear this thing about fight for 15 all the time. Why do I have this? I show this. Hang on a second. Where are we at? There it is. My cursor just moved. Um, you hear this thing about the fight for 15 thing, and it was weird because the reason I hate the idea of having a $15 minimum wage across the board, across the country, is because not the cost of living isn't the same everywhere. Each market is different, and you know what? At an entry level job, for some teenagers that normally are filled by teenagers, and especially in an economy like now, some places don't need to be $15 an hour. If you live in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, okay, the cost of living in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, probably is not as much as the cost of living in New York City or LA or especially San Francisco, where it's the highest cost of living anywhere. Um, and also something interesting when we were in, let's see, where was it? It was in San Francisco. Yeah, it was in San Francisco. Um, we're down near Fisherman's Wharf, and there's an In-N-Out burger there. And I love In-N-Out burger when I go to California. So we were thinking about getting an In-N-Out burger and end up going to a restaurant instead. But I looked in the window of that In-N-Out burger, Fisherman's Wharf, and they were paying in their help wanted side, because they said, we're hiring, starting at $16.50 to $18.50 an hour at an In-N-Out at a fast food joint. And I'm thinking, now they don't have a 15-hour minimum wage in California yet. I'm sure they're going to have one soon. I'm sure, maybe they've already done that. But you know what? It's funny. If you can't get employees to work for you, you're going to pay more already. Because I was thinking even the fast food joints around here, none of them start for less than $12.50 an hour. For what? My neighbor kid who's going to be a junior in high school, works at a burger joint, and he makes $12.50 an hour. So why do you need? You don't need the minimum wage to be raised. There's going to be places where if you can't find someone to work there, they're going to have to wage. They're going to find a way to get people to work there, and they might have to pay more. It's hard to get people, especially in an economy like this. But anyway, hello, Maddie. I didn't see you come in yet. Evil One and Maniac Man. Good morning. All right, back to this article. You know what? I'm going because I don't. It's funny. I don't have to do production, so I keep going on all these little asides. Back to the article though. Ding ding. All right, so instead of going after, let's see. This was supposed to be a debate, and the moderators did try to ask occasionally challenging questions. I know I read it before, I'm going to read it again. While the candidates courageously avoided them, instead prepared prepared speeches attacking Trump and insisting that the economy wasn't working for most people who weren't as rich as them. Instead of going after Warren, the fields of starving losers went after the weakest member of the herd who still had a few percentage points to his fake name. Bill de Blasio and Julian Castro jumped on Beto O'Rourke like starving hyenas pouncing on a midget gazelle in an orgy of blood and talking points. Despite O'Rourke's Kennedy-esque buck teeth, he went down like a marshmallow. Yeah, I've been thinking about this, and I've been trying to have a pool on who's the first Democratic candidate that is going to bow out and who is the first Democratic candidate who should bow out. Now, there's a couple that I don't count because I can't even remember their names. Tim Ryan. And I've always said from the beginning, the first candidate that needs to drop out who should drop out is Eric Swalwell. He's going nowhere. Yeah, there you go. Even one Swalwell as well. He is going nowhere. And unless he now it'll be interesting because I think he did make the debate stage for tonight, and I almost want to watch just to see Eric Swalwell, just to see how much of a jackass he is. We'll see though. I can't. I got other things I got going on tonight. Anyway, Democrats wondering how he would perform in the debate against President Trump could only imagine the hipster being slammed around on a stage for 3 debates straight. Castro and Bill de Blasio went after O'Rourke from the left in a radical primary where the moderates were on the run, and the only acceptable non-radical position was protecting union health care plans. Julian Castro declared that transgender people aborting babies should be paid for by the taxpayers as his idea of reproductive justice. Then he demanded that the other candidates agree to legalize illegal migration or be forced to listen to him practice enunciating Guatemala. Elizabeth Warren delivered all her remarks in the hysterical pitch of a paranoid schizophrenic grandma, demanding to know why all the songs on the radio are telling her to kill her parrot. That included a call to take away everyone's health insurance and replace it with film strips of Karl Marx lifting weights. Bill de Blasio smirked his way through a call for a 70% tax rate. There's plenty of money in this world, he gloated. It's just in the wrong hands. Yeah, the wrong hands were any but his own oversized mitts, which clenched greedily to the touch of money. But the moment they had a chance, the 2020 losers, whose campaigns never even took off, launched into one single factoid that would make them stand out to the audience of confused viewers wondering who they were and where Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden's were. Cory Booker reminded voters that every opportunity that he was not only African American, but lived in a low-income Black community. Now, that was the other one, man. He kept saying that. Cory Booker, you don't live in a low-income Black community. There may be a low-income Black community in your town, but you don't live in it. You know you don't live in it. Booker claimed that people had been shot on his block. His neighbors have said that he hardly shows up at his official New Jersey address. He actually lives in a miniature indoor golf course in Washington, D.C. As an African-American man in an African-American community, Booker began one of his speeches, convinced that the audience would forget he was Black unless he reminded them every time. Julian Castro claimed that his working class background meant that he knew what it was like to rent a house. Castro, who doesn't speak Spanish, pronounced Jose, Oscar, and Honduras with the exaggerated care of a Dos Equis pitchman. Tulsi Gabbard constantly reminded viewers that she had served in the military. Tim Ryan wanted people to remember that he was from Ohio. Not everyone in Ohio was as happy to be associated with him. John Delaney, that's the one I couldn't figure out. He's the bald dude. John Delaney wanted people to know that they would never have to look at him after this night. And Beto O'Rourke randomly broke out into awkward Spanish while Cory Booker and Elizabeth Warren looked on in horror. Booker's horror was understandable. He had memorized his own speech in bad Spanish, and Beto's stunt had upstaged his stunt. That was the truth, man. That was the truth. Yeah, they did skip over Tulsi on that. I couldn't believe that, Lindsay. The high school Spanish got worse with panicked O'Rourke being asked a question in Spanish. That was hilarious too. Bill de Blasio announced that what set him apart from all the other candidates was raising a Black son. Oh man, they all were given everyone was trying to throw out their progressive stack points, their oppression points. Everyone was trying to stack up their oppression points in the I can relate to you. Booker, I'm just a poor boy, nobody loves me. He's just a poor boy from a Black family. Thank you, Mr. Dax. Thank you for writing lyrics, even though I changed them just a little bit. And then there were the bizarre and goofy proposals. Jay Inslee promised to put union members to work in the wind turbines of the future, offering two contradictory proposals in one. We must understand that this is a climate crisis emergency, Jay Inslee rasped. I am the candidate who said this has to be the top priority. Tim Ryan called for a trauma-based care in every school and announced that he wanted to dominate the solar industry. Cory Booker claimed that African-American transgender people were being lynched. And I'm not laughing at the fact. Oh my God. Maybe he's talking about Jussie Smollett. Oh wait, Jussie Smollett's not transgender. He's he is gay and black. Tulsi Gabbard claimed, let's see, Gabbard claimed that appeasing Iran would put the American people first. The single most shameless moment may have come when Bill de Blasio, who refuses to use his father's last name, Wilhelm, tried to exploit his father's service in World War II. The highlight of the loser debate was when this was great too, when a technical malfunction shut down the debate at the top of the second hour. Rachel Maddow, a Russian conspiracy theorist, somehow exercised enough restraint not to shout, "It's the Russians! They're finally here!" But Maddow brought her own obsession with locking up Trump to the table, demanding to know if the president of the United States might be impeached and forced to watch MSNBC for the rest of his life. Indeed, despite all the obsession with the Russian conspiracy, Beto O'Rourke was the first candidate to mention Russia 95 minutes into the debate. Russia as a topic did not come up until the very end of the debate, when more candidates cited the weather as the greatest geopolitical threat than Russia. Now, that's fascinating too, because they don't want to talk about Russia anymore, because they know that there was no collusion. Poor Rachel Maddow. It's killing her that they don't get to talk about that during the debate. 9 politicians with no future met up on stage and made promises that they don't understand and will never be able to keep, recited simplistic talking points, and doubled down on every radical position. And the 10th, Senator Elizabeth Warren, out-radicalized them all. And that's why she will lose too if she's the nominee. The losers would almost clamber back to the Iran nuclear sellout. Almost all of them wanted to ban guns, borders, and the economy. None of them had much in the way of a plan. All of them had rhetoric. But that's all the loser debate amounted to. 9 losers with less of a chance of becoming president than freezing to death in a Miami summer met on a neon stage. Don't bother remembering their names. By 2020, you won't hear them again. Now, that's, what? I got a feeling, and I don't know why. I just don't know why. I don't know why. But for some reason, even though Beto O'Rourke will not be the nominee, I don't know that this is going to be the last we've heard of him. I just don't. Anyway, so that's a good. I thought that was, of the ones I've read, that was a good. A somewhat good summary of the debate in a nutshell. A little snarky, but you know what? I like snarky. So anyway, all right. Next thing. What time is it? Okay, I'm doing good for time. Good. I do have. Let's see, a couple other things. Let's just looking for sale. Oh, Sheagrath, how you doing? Nice to see you here. I didn't see you come in. Good morning, Check Your Logic. I see you popped in. Who else? Richo, you already here. I think I've said hello to everybody. Hello. I am happy that you are all here on the Morning Night Live. And speaking of which, I'm shilling more lately because I need to. I got to replace some equipment, so I'm going to shill. What the hell's going on? Like, okay, that's the other thing. My other computer, everything works better. This computer is slow and embarrassing. Okay. All right. There we go. There was a question here and I can't find it now. Even when you asked me, let's see. I had an ad for sandals. Sandals the resort? Wait, I had an ad? Wait, what am I doing here? How long tonight before Kamala the Uganda Nightmare Harris says she had a lesbian affair in college? Oh my gosh. You know what? That is so funny you said that, because I was thinking about that. There's a video of her. Now, it's funny because she gets in front of black people and tries to be, she's a pandering giant, if you ask me. like she had the video of her dancing around with a college drum line, and it's funny because she danced around. There's only a couple other people danced around. They're young people, and she's danced around. I mean, I I've never seen in the black community, we have a term that we call cooning. And she's cooning for the black people right now because she's trying to prove her blackness and thinking that that's the only way that she can be taken seriously. Now, if you think about it, now for the most part, as much as I'm not a fan of President Obama, um, for the most part, President Obama always remained dignified for the most part. Now, granted, he had the little thing where he was dancing with Ellen DeGeneres, but everyone danced with Ellen DeGeneres. I don't. That's not what I'm talking about. Um, Obama always. One of the reasons they call it we call it, the black people call him no drama Obama is because he was always very cool, very professional. Didn't try to you know didn't try to go up into the hood and eat barbecue. Not like Hillary would. He did. Let's put it this way: Obama never carried hot sauce in his suit jacket. He didn't have to pander, and he knew it. He knew he didn't have to pander, so he didn't. Okay. Cory Booker, even though he mentions being African American a lot, Cory Booker doesn't pander to black people. Kamala Harris, I don't know why she does this. All right, we know she has pseudo African heritage. Her mother's from India, her father's from Jamaica, of African descent. And all the black people already know she's of African descent. Oh, check your Streamlabs. Thank you. Yeah, you might have to tell me because it doesn't. I have no. Here, let me refresh this. Oh, that's why. Oh, it didn't beat me because it didn't refresh. Hang on. So I guess I don't know when this happens. Come on. And this computer's so slow, especially when I'm running two screens. Give me a moment. I'll get back to Kamal in a second. Oh, thank you, C. Thomas. Thank you for the $2 donations via Streamlabs Super Chat. Here's the great wisdom of Corbin, who I just love. Fuck Cory Booker, Elizabeth Warren, and Bill de Blasio. All three of those moralizing fuckwits literally live like nobility, while the rest of us peasants are forced to hear them masturbate to their own morals endlessly. Tulsi was intentionally ignored. Ain't that the truth? I mean, they really, you knew that, especially, I know Rachel Maddow has no time for Tulsi Gabbard. You know what? I would vote for Tulsi Gabbard, but I respect the hell out of Tulsi Gabbard. She's, she, knows she knows, she just knows her shit, and she's very intelligent, speaks intelligently, very professional. I like her. I just don't know that I would vote for her. But yeah, a lot of these other are just politicians. I think she's genuine, and that's the one thing. If let's put it this way, if she won the nomination at some point in the next 20 years and ended up being president, even though I don't agree with her, it would be very easy to respect her in the office. I can't say that about every candidate. And especially this group of fools. So anyway, all right. Let's see. I'm gonna do one more article. You know what? I was gonna do another article, but I think we're gonna have to get into Twitter trends so I don't run out of time here. Unless, you know what? Let's do this. I'm gonna just look at some headlines here. Okay. Senate passes $4.5 billion bipartisan border bill after rejecting the House version. Did you hear about that? So the Senate passed a bill, $4.5 billion, this border security bill. 84 to 5. I mean, it was let's see, what was the vote on this? Let's check this out real quick. Oh gosh, just cannot get this article. All right, hang on. Anyway, it was overwhelming majority, like totally bipartisan. The House rejected it. Okay, so you can say all you want about the Mitch McConnell versus Nancy Pelosi, who's actually trying to be bipartisan. Seems like the Senate can pass a border bill, and then the House is going to reject it. In fact, here it is: Nancy Pelosi rejected bipartisan border bill amid the crisis, dead babies and all. It's kind of the remember when okay, so remember when all this when Trump started talking about that there's a crisis at the border, but the Democrats said, "Oh, there's no crisis at the border." But then apparently Elizabeth Warren traveled to the border a long time ago, and there was this crisis at the border. But then when Trump said it was a crisis at the border, there was no crisis at the border. And apparently, Alexandria Ocasio Cortez was at the border, and there was a crisis at the border, and she had her photo shoot in her white dress or white costume, pantsuit, and crying at the border. But then there was no crisis at the border. But now everything's concentration camps. Is there a crisis or not? You jackasses. You know what I'm saying? Oh, what the hell? God bless America. What kind of ad is this, and how do I get rid of it? It's gigantic. I can't even. Okay, Daily Wire. Here, let's do this one, because this kind of cracks me up. And this is from the Daily Wire. Here we go. Democrat Nancy Pelosi rejects bipartisan border bill amid crisis. Democratic House Speaker Nancy Pelosi rejected a bipartisan border bill on Wednesday that overwhelmingly passed the Senate, and comes as the United States is facing a crisis on the southern border. The Washington Times reports that Pelosi will demand changes to limit how long children can be held in some facilities, and will insist on more money to pay communities that illegal immigrant families are being dumped into. Hey, you mean the communities that are sanctuary cities? Is that what she's talking about? I don't know. And will demand a new method of processing migrants when they arrive at the border, which is culturally, linguistically, and religiously appropriate. What? How about we just try to feed them and keep them comfortable while we're trying to get them processed? The $4.6 billion border bill, which passed 84-8, that sounds pretty bipartisan to me, on Wednesday, included $2.88 billion for health and human services to provide safe shelter and care for children in custody, $1.1 billion for customs and border protection, to establish migrant care and processing facilities, $220 million for the Justice Department to help process immigration cases and provide resources to U.S. Marshals for care and detention of federal detainees, $145 million for branches of the U.S. military for missions along the border, according to CBS News. That was the Senate bill that passed 84-8. And you know what? All of these people bitching and using this stupid concentration camp comparison are the same people who don't seem to have solutions. Okay. Have you heard, well, the dimwit of the planet, AOC, she's quick to talk about the concentration camps and tweeting about this and tweeting about that. Have you ever heard her tweet an actual solution? What's the solution? Okay, let's put it this way. So they had this big thing about this, and they're exploiting the dead kids. They are literally ghouls, if you ask me. They exploit the dead kids on the borders. The father and daughter that drowned, and they're blaming on President Trump. Wait a minute. Okay. Remember that father and daughter. Okay, so they went to a consulate in Mexico and couldn't be processed that day. And so they decided to cross the Rio Grande anyway and drowned. How did we kill those people? You could there's already places in Mexico that are helping those people in the areas there are. Okay. And especially around that American consulate. So they would have had to come back later. Right now, that consulate, for example, that they went to has a 1,200 case waiting list. That's how overwhelmed the situation is right now. 1,200 cases, even if they had 30, 40 lawyers processing these. 1,200 cases. It's going to take time because they're overwhelmed, because all these people are being told that they can just cross the border. And as long as they have a kid with them, they'll be okay. They'll be able to just keep on going. Somebody needs to get the message out that that's not the case. Okay. But, and so what are the Democrats that are, exploiting these dead kids doing? They're saying we should have open borders. Name a country in the world that just allows you to come into their country without any any processing at all. But they want us to be the country that does that. They want us to be the country that says, "Oh, yep, oh, just Elizabeth Warren proposed decriminalizing." Oh no, Pelosi proposed decriminalizing illegal border crossing. Can anybody name the country where you can just go into their country no matter what, without any sort of no, without, I mean, without whatever? You can just go in and you can go there and establish residency, speak your own language, and do your own thing, and take jobs from whoever, take jobs from people who need jobs. And don't we have a few homeless people in this country, right? So is some job crisis, right? There's got to be something, but no. But let's just have open borders. Anyway, let me finish this. The Times further noted that the bill the Senate passed, while similar in the amount of money that is provided to help fix the problem at the border, differs in how the money would be spent. The federal health department charged with caring for unaccompanied alien children gets a majority of the money in each bill, the Times reported. But the border authorities, the Pentagon, and deportation officers get money in the Senate bill that is absent from the House version. And while both bills contain some restrictions on how the money can be spent, the House version contains many more. The Times added that the provisions were added to appease the far left wing of the Democratic Party. The Hill noted that the far left reps, imagine this, the far left reps, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, and Rashida Tlaib voted against the Democratic-controlled House's $4.5 billion border bill on Tuesday evening. Yeah, they of all people, okay, Alexandria Ocasio concentration camp, or Cortez, voted against the bill. Remember her, the chick who was crying in the photo op pics? In fact, Twitter, when I looked at Twitter today, what was one of the first things I saw? Was there something about, come on. Where is it? It was, oh shoot, it's gone. Yeah, Twitter does weird things, man. There's a pretty funny picture of that photo shoot that they were taking of her. The cameraman getting the right angle and whatnot. Holy shit. Oh, great. CNN. The world is facing a climate apartheid between the rich who can protect themselves and the poor who are left behind, the UN warns. More than 120 million people could slip into poverty within the next decade because of climate change, a new report estimates. Okay, so you know what? Okay, so we got this. Now, this is fascinating. I don't, I'm not, I don't deny that there's an issue with the climate. But you know what? The climate issues are going to happen no matter what we do. There's nothing, literally, that's going to change that. But it's interesting that, let's see, so they highlight One report, a new report published Tuesday, estimated that more than 120 million people could slip into poverty within the next decade because of climate change. Let's take a look at this report. Let me right click here and we're going to open a new tab. What's this report called and who wrote it? While that's going on, it's a UN report. So I put a whole of 20-pound salt lick, take it with a take it with a not a grain of salt, but a 20-pound salt lick. New report. This is the report. By who is this report? But let's see. Dr. Philip Alston, Australia, took up his function as a special rapporteur on extreme poverty and human rights in 2014. As special rapporteur, he is part of what is known as the Special Procedure of Human Rights Council. Special Procedure is the largest body of independent experts in UN human rights system, is the general name of the council's independent fact-finding and monitoring mechanisms that address either specific country situations or thematic issues in all parts of the world. Special procedures experts work on a voluntary basis. They are not UN staff and do not receive a salary for their work. They are independent from any government or organization and serve in their individual capacity. So, first of all, this is not even official from the UN. It's just some guy um, who gets to write bullshit for them, but they call this a study. Mm, let's see, where is the study? Okay, here, this is the report. UN expert condemns failure to address impact of climate change and poverty. Oh, here's the report. Okay, now this is the report I'm looking for. I have go. This is the second place where I've had to go look it up. Hang on. Now, when they write a report like this, where do they get their data from? Wait, why is this not ohcr.org? Oh, interesting. Is this the this is hmm. So, okay, so this is all this is June 25th. There's no report. They're not linking to the report. Fascinating. Why won't they link the report? Let's see. I'm trying to right click it, open a new tab, and it closed immediately. Huh. Climate change. Okay, so here's the UN report. Climate change will have the greatest impact on those living in poverty, but also threatens democracy, human rights, according to a UN expert. Okay, he's not a UN expert because it just says down here that he does not work for the UN. They are not UN staff. They're independent from any government organization. So it's one study, and I'm sorry, they're not now. Granted, the study would have to. Whoa, what the hell is that? Okay, you probably couldn't hear that. Could you hear what just did you just hear some random talking out of curiosity? Put a yes or no in the chat. It would have been from a video that came up. You shouldn't be able to hear anything from my computer, but maybe you can. I don't know. Um, so this is a report with no footnotes. So they make a big art. They make a big deal out of this single report from this single guy who doesn't work for the UN. It's fascinating how they'll take a single report and put it on the front page of CNN like it's significant. Okay, so it's a single report of an estimate of a model guessing what the impact of that estimate of that model could happen by the year 2100 by one guy. One guy. But it's the headline on CNN. It's their big tweet of the day. A climate apartheid, they call it. Yes, let's give it a really dramatic name. Climate apartheid. So that you know what that means? You know what that means, people? Give us your money. Give up your life. Give up, give up, give up your lifestyle. Okay. We're not going to do it, but we want you to. Give us your money. Okay. It's funny because every crisis during my lifetime, the solution has been, hey, we need to tax you more so we can fix this crisis. Anyway, all right, you know what, guys? I only have a few minutes. Let's get into Twitter trends. We'll only do a few today. Let me get on here. United States trend and Twitter. Show more. Oh, wait, I already have them up here. Let's see. Let me refresh this on my very slow computer. Let's see here. All right, welcome to Twitter. Number one trending right now is the Supreme Court. Uh-oh. What's going on here? Oh, interesting. The Supreme Court is trending because the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that federal courts do not have a role in deciding partisan gerrymandering claims. The decision could reshape the balance of power in Congress and state legislatures. Now, that's an interesting thing. Let's see. Now, Alyssa Milano, of course, I'm going to have to read hers, but I want to read the actual article first because via the New York Post. Supreme Court upholds partisan election maps for North Carolina and Maryland. Interesting. 5-4 decision. Oh, this is going to get people riled up. Supreme Court says federal courts cannot strike down partisan gerrymandering schemes. A deeply divided Supreme Court ruled Thursday that federal courts may not intervene to block even the most partisan election maps drawn by state lawmakers, a decision that allows such gerrymandering to continue unabated. In the 5-4 opinion by Chief Justice Roberts, joined by the court's other conservatives, said partisan election maps drawn by North Carolina Republicans and Maryland Democrats are constitutional despite their one-sided nature. It was a dramatic withdrawal by the nation's highest court for the political battles that have consumed states for decades, and it was loudly denounced by the court's liberal justices. We have no commission to allocate political power and influence in the absence of a constitutional directive or legal standards to guide us in the exercise of such authority, Roberts said. Associate Justice Elena Kagan decried the ruling on behalf of the court's four liberals. Of all the times to abandon the court's duty to declare the law, this was not, or this was not the one, she said. The practices challenged in these cases imperil our system of government. The ruling addresses the way the ruling addresses the way election districts are redrawn once every decade in the most states, a system dominated by political self-interest that has grown more intense every time the Supreme Court declined to tame it. The High Court has never before declared unconstitutional an election map drawn for blatant partisan advantage. Justices have reasoned that elected officials are expected to joust for power in that fashion, while the courts should be reluctant to intercede. Interesting. This is going to be. Oh my goodness, This is going to be. No wonder it's trending number one because the thing here is, they're complaining that one of the things you love, liberals, leftist Democrats love to talk about is, well, gerrymandering is why their candidate lost, and they'll even say it for a Senate candidate or for the president. Excuse me, gerrymandering only affects small district races. For example, congressmen. There are ways to gerrymander, meaning drawing out district maps to be supposedly advantaged for one candidate or another. Cutting out, for example, what's hilarious is that AOC's district in New York, Democrats there are thinking of just completely getting rid of her district the next time they redraw the district maps because they're tired of her embarrassing them. But anyway, the point is, this ruling um, was based on two states: North Carolina, where the Republicans redrew the district maps supposedly to their advantage, and in Maryland, where the Democrats redrew the maps apparently in their advantage. So it's not a Republican or Democrat thing, but because the Democrats are mad that Republicans have been able to, for example, have more seats in Congress, which they don't even now. They don't even have more seats in the House of Representatives. They can blame it on gerrymandering, or and like I said, it's the funniest is when they say, "Oh well, the only reason this Senator so and so got elected was because of gerrymandering." Hey, morons! Senate races are statewide races. There is no gerrymandering for Senate races, and there's absolutely no gerrymandering for presidential races, which I've heard people try to argue too, and I laugh because that's not work. But that's a big decision by the court. I'm actually kind of surprised that they ruled that way. But let's see. Let's see some of the tweets beyond that. We'll go back one. Of course, your constitutional scholar, Alyssa Milano, has weighed in. Today, SCOTUS joined in political attacks on democracy, allowing blatantly partisan manipulation of voting districts. Gerrymandering is used to suppress minority votes. It is fundamentally un American. We must win back the state governments in 2020. Hey, Alyssa Milano, just a note, just a reminder, just a slight little reminder, Alyssa. Maryland. Did I mention Maryland already? I think I did. Maryland. Yeah. So Maryland, whatever, is in their advantage. So there's going to be a lot of people bitching about that today. The New Yorker. For now, the Supreme Court has blocked the census citizenship question. Oh, they did block the census citizenship question. That AOC alleged was added to undercount minorities and shift power to Republicans. No, it wasn't that. That's not why they were talking about doing it, you stupid. I'm gonna just avoid that expletive. Anyway, Stacey Washington. Roberts double crossed us again. Of course, he is against elevating citizens above those who break in a steal citizenship. Okay, what's this one? So some people are talking about gerrymandering. What else did they do? Oh yeah, they did block the 2020 census citizenship question. That's another thing. So all these more controversial decisions they saved for today, and they're all coming out. So that's why the Supreme Court is trending. Um, it's weird. They in some hands, GOP huge win on landmark gerrymandering case. So that's North Carolina. But if you think about it, they lose in the Maryland case. So you know what? I let states do what they're going to do. They'll figure it out. Of course, Adam Schiff. We know the purpose of adding a citizenship question to the census to suppress participation in immigrant communities for partisan reasons. Yeah, no, not to suppress. You know what? When someone does a census, if you're here legally or if you're an American citizen, do you give a damn if there's a citizenship question? Is it going to change how you answer the citizenship question? If you're a legal immigrant or someone here on a green card or a work visa or whatever, do you care about a citizenship question? No. Only people who don't want a citizenship question are people who are here illegally. All right. So there's so anyway, Supreme Court decisions. That's trending number one. Number two on the trends today is also SCOTUS for the same Supreme Court. Trending number three, Kemba Walker. Why is Kemba Walker trending? Did he get traded or he's staying with his team? Kemba Walker, the Boston Celtics have emerged as the front runner to sign Charlotte All-Star guard Kemba Walker once free agency opens Sunday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. The league sources tell ESPN. Oh, I see. They're trying to get Kemba in case Kyrie Irving leaves. So Good for them. We'll see what happens, but that hasn't happened yet. But Boston fans, Boston has more championships, NBA championships than any other team, like 17 total, 15 for the Lakers. And the next closest are 6. The Bulls and the Warriors both have 6. So anyway, Roberts is also trending. Let's see. Oh, another Roberts opinion. Chief Justice Robert joins the liberals in deferring to regulators. Number 5, Thursday thoughts. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Even One. I hope you have a great day. See you later, man. See you later. All right. Let's see. Thursday thoughts trending. Honey Badger Radio, who made morons of themselves a few weeks ago, silencing tactics used against the men's rights movement. So they have a video out or something. That's the top one, but let's get a good Thursday thought. Stop shrinking yourself to fit in places you've outgrown. Ha ha! Yes, Grandma, take those yoga pants off and put on a pantsuit, Grandma. Come on now. All right. And a doggy taking a shower. Okay, that's cool. All right, that's Thursday thoughts. Let's see what else. Let's check out a couple more before I got to go. Bischoff. Who is? Oh, Eric Bischoff is trending. I don't know why. Why is Eric Bischoff trending? Did he die or something? If you not know, Eric Bischoff is kind of a wrestling guy. He's always been a guy who, what? 2D, both Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman are back in prominent roles in the wrestling business. Oh, okay. So they're bringing back Heyman and Bischoff to the WWE. Okay, yippee. Good for them. Bischoff was he originally was, what was the other one? WCW. He was the CEO or something with WCW when Vince McMahon bought them out a while back. Kristen Stewart is trending. Oh, apparently Kristen Stewart is going to be in the new Charlie's Angels. Kristen Stewart. Okay, we're movie. Okay, so there's going to be another Charlie's Angels movie. See Kristen Stewart, Naomi Scott, and Ella Balinska kick ass in the first trailer for Elizabeth Banks' Charlie's Angels. Okay. There's going to be a new Charlie's Angels movie. Yippee. Yippee. We'll see. Although I kind of enjoyed the Charlie's Angels when it was Lucy Liu and who were the 3? Lucy Liu, Drew Barrymore, and what's her name that always does she always does a scene in her underwear in every movie. Okay, y'all can figure it out, whatever. Oh, I think the frustration of his leggy computer made him forget Streamlabs. You know what? I'm sorry, you guys. I didn't forget Streamlabs. I just can't. I gotta check it again. I didn't forget it. I can't do Streamlabs on this computer. I don't have enough power to run more than 2 things at a time. So I apologize for that. Thank you, C. Thomas. I got another Streamlabs super chat from you, $2. Thank you, sir. The Democrats keep regularly trying to paint Republicans as Satan, but yet the Dems will let kids and everyone they claim to support die in enough numbers to use as a cudgel. Fuck you, hypocrites. The Dems need to stop. Fuck those hypocrites. Very good point, sir. Very, very good point. This whole thing, I know I'm going back and forth. After this, I got to stop. This whole thing with the here, I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. The whole thing with the this border thing, okay? It is absolutely a cudgel. Cameron Diaz, thank you. They're using it as a cudgel, but they don't have any solutions, and they refuse to vote for the money to fix things. They refuse to actually have a proposal to fix things. Some of them even said last night, some of them in the debate last night, basically they all want open borders. We're the only country in the world that has open borders. I'm sorry, we would. I mean, Mexico doesn't have open borders. Now, granted, they've been letting a lot of people from Guatemala, Honduras, etc., come through their country to come here, but I think they're stopping that too now because they got the threat. They got the threat. Anyway, All right, all right. Anything else? Let me see if there's anything else interesting. It's Natural Sunglasses Day. I wear my sunglasses at night so I can watch you breathe and me. I don't know the words. I'm making it up with some groany sounds. National Sunglasses Day. Okay. Here's the last we're gonna do. We'll do a little comedy to finish out the show today. The number 9 trending item on Twitter today is describe Twitter in 4 words. This should be good. Describe Twitter in 4 words. The top one from my good friend David Burge, garbage, plus 3 extra words. Perfect. Oh, now describe Twitter. This was okay. It's not staying together in the Lord. No, that does not describe Twitter. Sorry, I'm not going to do the Holy Bible. Oh, still better than Facebook. Describe Twitter in 4 words. Just one more game. Okay, I'm not sure about that one. Just describe Twitter in 4 words. Late night entertainment rants. Cute little. You know what? I'm not gonna say unnecessary. This picture, Trump off his Twitter, and that's sometimes he needs to stay off it. Although I think his one tweet last night was so incredibly poignant, and it was almost to the point where it was inspirational. During the Democratic debate of the 10 folks on stage last night, Donald Trump tweeted the following. Boring. Oh, the Twitter chief. Describe Twitter in 4 words. You're making a mistake. The conservative voice oppressors, somewhat. They kind of do. You know what? I've kind of figured out the social media. Here's how I'm going to end today. I'm not going to do any more of this because I got to go. I'm going to end this way today, folks. While yes, the social media companies explicitly have made moves that are against right-leaning conservative people, Republicans, etc. And they absolutely do that. There's plenty of evidence. They do it all the time. But I think there is a somewhat bigger battle, especially in regards to YouTube. What it is Google, YouTube, that and I'll say Facebook too. You realize that a lot of the traditional media, legacy media, old school media, newspapers, TV news, and magazines, and even their online entities. Okay, the corporate media outlets right now, all of them are struggling because advertising dollars are being spread out. And Google, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter are a new form of communication, which is dominating, or at least beginning to dominate, all forms of advertising, especially Google's. Google's a little scary. Google's a scary company. And we'll get into that. The congressional hearing about Google that was yesterday. We'll get into that tomorrow. I don't have my guests confirmed, so I can't be honest. I can't tell you who they are. But tomorrow is my 100th show, so come join me tomorrow. But the corporate media, their biggest threat as far as advertising dollars are these social media companies. And so every time you see a hit piece or you see a Carlos Maga, what the hell's his name? Carlos, whatever the hell, the jackass from Vox, Carlos Maga, Carlos House MAGA. Anyway, anytime you see Twitter, censorious fucking dumpster fire. That's a good one. There you go, C. Thomas. C. Thomas, make sure you tweet that. And yes, Lucy Liu was very hot in the first Charlie's Angels. Anyway, they're competing for dollars against these social media companies, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Google, which I'll throw the Google in there because Google's the behemoth that gets a lot of their advertising dollars. And so what they're doing, especially, the creators, they're what they're doing, every time you see a hit piece about YouTube in particular, okay, all these independent creators that that were getting ad revenue on YouTube, now suddenly all these you see a hit piece and they're trying to scare the companies into not paying money into Twitter advertising, or excuse me, YouTube advertising. Well, what happens is every time that happens, every time those advertisers pull back, YouTube has to try to incentivize them to come back and advertise again, and they change their rate scales every time. So basically, anytime there's these hit pieces, YouTube's like, oh, no, please, advertisers, well, here, let us give you just a little bit better deal this time. And so the advertisers are just sitting back like, we don't care. I'll tell you right now, advertisers just want eyes on their product. They don't particularly care. If you would have never brought it up, they don't particularly care what video it's on, because the video is not assigned to the product, and everyone who watches YouTube knows that ads aren't assigned to product. No one's going out and buying ads to specifically make sure that they get on a Richard Spencer channel. Okay, if Pepsi's ad accidentally runs on a Richard Spencer channel, no one goes out there thinking, oh well, Pepsi endorses Richard Spencer. No, they're endorsing YouTube. And I guarantee you the assholes who are Richard Spencer fans, I bet a bunch of them drink Pepsi too. They're going to go out and buy Pepsi. But it doesn't mean that Pepsi is associated with that channel. But if the big, scary corporate media guys can tell you that, oh no, Pepsi, did you know that your ad ran on a Richard Spencer video or a pedophile video, what do they call those people? Those stupid whatever they are, or on the daddy of 5 kids beating parents, like abusing their children video. Did you know your product's being associated with that? And then they fall back. Or even the Carlos Maz thing. Did you know that the ads on Steven Crowder's videos are endorsing him calling what's his face, whatever he called him, Mazza, something queer, whatever he said. Doesn't matter what he said. Okay, so now, yeah, guess what? Advertisers just go, okay, we're gonna pull back and see what YouTube does. See if we can get a little bit of better rate now. Okay, because YouTube's competing for those same corporate dollars. And so it's not about necessarily, now granted, I would say it's still now YouTube itself and Google, yes, their bias against conservative shows up in that, but in the long run, it's everybody who uses those platforms are affected. Okay, so that's why I laugh. There's there are people out there who get it on the left, that get it, to go saying, whoa, man, if they if they ban Steven Crowder, what stops them from banning me? Jimmy Dore, he did a video on Steven Crowder. He can't stand Steven Crowder, but he sees what the real issue is, and that's what it's about. So anyway, people, that's going to be it for today. Thank you for being here. As you know, we're here Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, 2 p.m. GMT, for those of you who know what that means in other parts of the world. Thank you so much for coming every day. And thank you, C. Thomas, for the super chats. I appreciate that. Thank you, everyone who, a couple of you have tweeted out thing, and I just didn't see it somewhere out here. Let's see. A couple people retweeted the. Oh, here's this whole Twitter thing's all messed up. Thank you, Necrosol, for retweeting out the show, and whoever else shared it. That's great. I really appreciate it. That's it for today, and I don't have an outro, but you know what? My name is still Dawg Knight, and I'm out of here. Bye bye.